Hello, my name is Martin Omander and I welcome you to Google Root Access, the show featuring actionable startup advice. My guest today is Mani Doraisamy, founder of the startup Guesswork. Mani, tell us a bit about your startup.
We are a machine learning startup that helps to qualify leads and increase customer conversion. We do that by building predictive intelligence in CRM.
Predictive intelligence in customer relationship management systems.
Right.
How come you decided to work on that problem?
Right. We found this problem that the leads from the internet marketing channel doesn't convert into customers very well. For example, if you look at real estate agents, they get like 100 leads per day, and out of the 100 leads, 90 leads are from internet marketing like Trulia and Zillow.
Wow.
And 10 of them are from traditional channels. But the problem is, out of the 90 leads, only 5 of them convert into customers. On the other hand, out of the 10, the same 5 leads convert in the traditional channel. So very often we see real estate agents and the small business owners think that internet marketing leads don't have serious inquiries and tend to ignore them.
Oh, and then they got rid of half of their serious leads right there.
Exactly, yeah. Even though it can double their sales, they start ignoring them. So that's how we decided to build Guesswork. So we started building this machine learning service that predicts which of them are serious inquiries and which of them are casual inquiries so that they can focus on the serious ones. And we decided to build it part of the CRM.
I see. So let's talk a bit about objection handling.
Right.
When you are selling to CRM vendors, I
Right.
understand, and they are technically astute, and you talk to them about machine learning. Do they ever tell you that, hey, why should I go with a small startup and their machine learning when they're big players like Google and IBM and who knows who else is doing machine learning stuff with more resources?
Right.
How does that come up, and how do you respond
Very
to it?
often, right? So
yeah.
in fact, you can't compete with Google on machine learning. They have years of head start on machine learning, have hundreds of engineers working on machine learning every day, right? So we don't compete with them, we leverage them. So we build on top of Google Prediction API. Similarly, we build on top of App Engine and Bigtable to scale for huge volumes of data. So in fact, whenever we talk about using Google Prediction API for machine learning, most of the objections about technology already stop from the customers.
Oh, good. That's a good objection handling technique if
Right.
it just stops it. So I could see a potential other objection coming up then with somebody you're selling to, the customer saying, oh, you're using Google Prediction API and Google BigQuery. Why don't I just do that myself?
Exactly. So our value comes from the rule engine that we have built on top of Google Prediction API. For example, think about the same real estate example. If a customer asks for an apartment in Palo Alto, right, the machine learning algorithm can come up with an apartment recommendation, right? But then that apartment could have been sold out. So the machine learning doesn't, give that intelligence by itself. A rule engine which understands that business context and then decides to pick the next best alternative is very important for such cases. That rule engine is our IP that we have brought into the table, right?
Oh, right. And so you're complementing the machine learning with the rule engine.
Exactly.
And you're good at building rules engines
Right.
because you've been doing that for a while. And then there is something about focus and
Right. Exactly.
customer leads there as well.
Right.
Could you tell me a bit more about that?
Sure. So we always don't talk about technology because I think there is part of the stakeholders who are interested in, like for example, CTO in a CRM company, right, who is interested in the value we bring on in the technology portion. But if you have to convince the business guys, then we have to talk about what value we bring in, what business problem we solve. So we always talk about how we want to transform CRM from being a record-keeping system into a customer conversion agent. That business value is what convinces the stakeholders in CRM who are business guys, right, who are focused on solving a business problem rather than just technology problem. So you have a combination of both objection handling for the technology stakeholders as well as business stakeholders, and that's very important when you look at a target market where you have both stakeholders.
Oh, I see. So into a sales meeting, you come armed with here's why this is good for your business, and no technology discussion there.
Right.
And then when the CTO and so on, they kick you the tires, you can tell them that this is good stuff. It will hold up.
Exactly. So I think it's always about getting the entry into a sales cycle where you convince the business guys about the value proposition, and then later on in the sales cycle where you talk about how good your technology is with the technology decision makers, right? So you have both gatekeepers that you need to cross.
Ah, right. And either one could stop you, so you better be prepared for both.
Exactly.
Great. So Mani, you've been doing this for a while with your startup here. What would your advice be for other startups building on somebody else's technology, and how to think about objection handling and how to handle objections in sales situations?
Right. I think if you look at choosing somebody else's technology, it has to be always based on how it adds value to the customers, right? Very often we see people choosing a technology because they get marketing mileage, right? Typically there is this business development guy who is responsible for partnership, and he finds that he'll get more customers if you have a big brand logo in their website.
Oh, the logo on the website. Yes, I worked for a couple of startups like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's this you scratch my back, I scratch your back sort of thing. And that's the worst way to choose a technology. I think the best way to look at choosing others' technology is to find out whether you would choose the technology irrespective of the marketing or sales mileage you will get out of the big brand that provides you that technology. I think that is the one that will provide long-term benefit to the customers, and that way you will win irrespective of what the other company does for you.
And you'll be able to handle the objections better in the sales situation.
Exactly. And also I think the objection handling is not just using somebody else's technology, it's also about bringing a complementary strength. It could be technology or domain. For example, in our case, we bring in the rule engine IP into the table, right? It helps because we have 14 years of experience in building rule engines already. And during the initial stages of the startup, customers don't buy the product, they buy you. Founders are the product, right?
Yeah, the product might not be mature, might not even exist,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So you make a personal guarantee that you will deliver the results irrespective of whether you have a product or not, right?
Yeah.
So I think this notion of founder to market fit is quite popular in the investment community. Chris Dixon popularized it. But I think it's equally important during the initial stages of the startup, because you convince the customers based on the founder's strength and not just on the product.
Great. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing our experiences with us, Mani.
Thanks, Martin. It's my pleasure.
Thank you for joining us. We hope you found something you can use in your startup. Your input matters. Please leave your comments below. We read everything you write. To learn how Google can help your startup, go to developers.google.com/startups. If you would like to be a guest on the show, go to bit.ly/apply root access. That's it for now. See you next time.